don't always have to answer the question. In fact, sometimes it's better if you don't. I'm running a Thrive in the Gig Economy. Would you like to learn too? About a year ago, I talked to you about a client who got a call from the media and asked to do an interview with her. And she wasn't sure she really wanted to do it. And I asked her, I said, well, what's your goal? What are you going to benefit if you do this? And she said, I don't think there's any benefit to doing it. And I said, well, if there's no benefit to doing it, then don't do it. There's no point to it. So she turned it down. Well, in the last month or so, I've had two other clients come to me about questions about how to deal with questions that they don't like. And I'm going to give them the same advice that I gave to this woman about a year ago when I said, don't do the interview. The simple point of the matter is you don't have to answer every question that somebody asks. You just don't. In the first case, this was a client who was being interviewed for a story about a new product. And we game planned it. We figured out some of the questions that might be asked. You know, what's a good way of responding to this? Or what's a good way to respond to that? And she said, what if the reporter asked how much it costs to produce the product? I don't want to tell the public how much it costs because then my customers might want to dicker with me on the price, on the contracts. So I said, well, when the reporter asks, just say, we're not making that information public. And you can say it's a business decision. We're just keeping that in-house. And then stop. That's what I thought. And I said, just stop. And she said, well, I mean, a reporter's going to get upset if you don't answer the question. I said, a reporter's not going to kill an entire story because you legitimately had a reason not to answer one question. She's put a lot of time into the story. She's going to do the story regardless. She might mention that you didn't want to say how much the item cost to produce, but otherwise, don't worry about it. And if she puts it in that, you didn't want to say how much the product cost, well, that's fine. It's not going to hurt you. And sure enough, the reporter did ask. And my client very smartly said, we're not releasing that information. And nothing happened. The story went out and it was perfectly fine. I had another client come to me and she said, a lot of times when she's on a public panel or she's at a workshop, even though she's there for a company in a particular role, people will be asking her questions about other parts of the company and about what other people in the company are doing. And she doesn't really know how to answer that. And I said, well, simple. If it has nothing to do with your role and it's not part of the goal of you being at that workshop, just say, that's not really something that I should address. You can speak to so-and-so in that other division, or you can call the company and speak to the spokesperson who can put you in touch with the best person to speak to. But really, it's really not any of my concern. And I even said, say your company's treasurer got in trouble, stole some money and ran off to Brazil, and you're appearing on a panel, and somebody asks you about it, and you had nothing to do with it, it's not really your role. You can certainly say, well, we've all read the news about it, and I don't have anything to add to what's in public knowledge already, and move on. Nobody's going to hold that against you at a panel or a workshop if you point out that it's not really your role to discuss something that is not really in your field. That's your responsibility. It's just not going to be a big deal. In fact, I told the client, I said, sometimes people respect you more when you say, I can't answer that. That's not really on me. People within your company will be happier with you if you don't start talking about, how Joe over in marketing is handling something. You just say, that's not my business. This is what I focus on. This is what we're here to talk about. And if you do that regularly, people will respect it. people will respect the fact that you're not answering questions that don't concern you or that aren't part of your responsibility. What do you think? Do you think that makes sense? I certainly advise my clients not to answer questions when it's not their responsibility to do so. And I think it helps them because then they can focus on what they want to focus on. But I'd be curious what your opinion is. Please comment down below. Share and like this video because I'd like to get other people to give me some opinions. And I will put a link in to that one that I did about a year or so ago about turn down interviews when they don't serve your purpose. But anyway, please like and share, subscribe, and until next week, take care.